Make sure that you are exposed accurately according to your risk tolerance. Make sure you're always setting stop limits. There are reasons that these functions exist on exchanges. What is going on, crypto peeps? Welcome back to the Traveling Crypto. So I started with this page up mainly because I like the contrast between this blue jacket and the red background that you see there. I didn't even know that there were different shades of red on this chart. This is how bad it is. The biggest hit obviously being Bitcoin Cash. We'll get to that in a second. But a lot of you are asking why this happened. First, as a trader, I just want to get this out there, right? Risk management is something that you do in advance. It is a long-term game. It's not something that you try to implement once everyone is panicking. There are a number of reasons for this. So one, because you're not making sound decisions when everybody panics. Two, there are technical considerations to take into account. Like a lot of people were having trouble getting to just logging into Binance, for instance, and then once logging in, they had trouble selling their Bitcoin for Tether or some other stable coin, or selling their altcoins for Bitcoin. So you don't want to be doing that stuff when we are in a tornado of panic. That is why I always advocate know your risks up front, know your risk tolerance up front. Make sure that you are exposed accurately according to your risk tolerance. Make sure you're always setting stop limits. There are reasons that these functions exist on exchanges. Always set your stop limits. In hindsight, yeah, I mean, look, this is fucking terrible, right? Like most everything is red. There are, at least half of the coins are in this deep red shade, but if you have your stop limit set correctly, I mean, BTC, it looks bad on a chart, this drop here, but in hindsight, it's really down, 8%. It's not that bad. So if you have your portfolio protected correctly, right, you would exit your alts into Bitcoin. And if you're a Bitcoin maximalist and you don't care about fiat, then you're done. You're trying to accumulate as many Bitcoins and as many Satoshis as possible. But a step further than that, once you sell into your Bitcoin, then you would set a stop limit on your Bitcoin into a stable coin or fiat, for instance, and your portfolio would not be bleeding that bad. I hate the HODL mentality. I will never, ever condone it. It's not something that I partake in. Yes, there are times when HODLing is advantageous in any market, not just the crypto market, but it is when you have bought assets that were undervalued and you are riding for the long term. If you bought high, there is no reason to HODL. Like somebody who bought Bitcoin at 15K or even 10K or 9K at this point, HODLing for them that's like suicide. There's no reason to do that. Anyway, you learn from your experiences. I'm not here to lambast anybody who has lost money or has had their portfolio bleed significantly. You live and you learn. As long as you take certain steps in the future to protect your portfolios, right? To manage your risk, to know what you're going to do with your coins before you even click the buy button. Know your profit targets, know your stop limits, know how much you're willing to lose on each coin. These things are extremely important because of times like this. And yes, it sucks to be in any bear market, but as a trader over time, you learn that this is the time that you want to be proactive, right? What I'm looking for today, obviously after protecting my portfolio, parking it, and now I'm on the sidelines, I'm monitoring, looking for spots to get into, right? I want to see how the market is going to react at this, breaking the 2018 low on Bitcoin, for instance, right? We're currently trading at 56.35. The lowest I think we dropped to was in June sometime. I think it was like 57.80 was the low on the Bitstamp price in June. So we're close to that. I want to see how we close out the day. We have a few more hours left until this candle closes. It's very realistic that, we could climb back up into the 5,800 range, or we could stay here and establish a new 2018 close for the daily candle. Either way, I want to see how the market reacts, and I'm looking to make moves here. You don't want to be always a buyer in the green. You want to buy when everybody is selling. But at the same time, you want to be able to make sound decisions and have your portfolio protected so that you're waiting on the sidelines comfortably, not worrying about how much your portfolio is bleeding for a chance to buy back and re-enter some of these positions. Anyway, so a couple of reasons why this happened today, or why this is happening now. One of them is the continued Tether controversy, right? Tether dropped back to 97 cents as opposed to $1. So it dropped 3%. So there continues to be this disparity in price between, exchanges that have Tether and exchanges that don't. So Coinbase, Bitstamp, you're going to see a $5,600 price range on Bitcoin at the current moment. And you look at, an exchange like Bitfinex, which is tethered to the balls, and you'll see that it is trading at $300 higher at $5,900, right? That's because the value of Tether is less than the value of the dollar. So it requires more Tether to buy one Bitcoin, and that's why the price of Bitcoin is higher on Tether or exchanges that use Tether. Another reason is this Bitcoin Cash fork that is impending, that is coming up tomorrow on November 15th, right? The market is responding to the lack of certainty with Bitcoin Cash. Nobody knows how the market is going to react to it. You have Bitcoin Cash forking into two incompatible forks, Bitcoin Cash ABC and Bitcoin Cash SV. We went over it a little bit in yesterday's video, but adding fuel to the fire, Poloniex decided to initiate pre-fork trading for both forks, so you can actually trade them before the fork. And yesterday we saw Bitcoin Cash ABC dump while Bitcoin Cash SV rally a little bit. Now they're both in the red, and the price of Bitcoin, like, people don't even know what's going to happen to which fork is going to succeed over the other, and what's going to happen to the Bitcoin Cash price that we see currently and the Bitcoin Cash asset on exchanges. I mean, it is a world of ambiguity, and we're just going to have to wait it out. And I think that a lot of traders share that perspective, and that is causing definitely bearish momentum in the market, along with the Tether controversy. And I mean, let's not kid ourselves. We've been saying this all along. When you have a period of extremely low volatility, right? We've been trading in this tight range that we haven't seen periods of this low volatility in 2 years. We've been trading in this tight range since the beginning of September. So a little over 2 months, right? And when you're trading in this tight range with no low volatility and no volume, you are susceptible. For one, there's going to have to be a violent breakout in either direction, right? To break up the volatility. You can't stay in this period of low volatility forever. So there's going to be a breakout in either direction, and any major news, whether it would be deemed insignificant during normal market conditions, any significant news is going to shake this pattern up, this low volatility sideways pattern up, right? And it just so happens that, volume is shit. We're in this period of low volatility. We're susceptible to really any news that is injected into the market. So with the Tether controversy, Bitcoin Cash, we're going to see a dip, right? Because that is only negative news. We really don't have anything positive, and low volume is prone to be affected more, right? So that's currently my take on the situation. But again, it's not that bad from a trader standpoint if you protected yourself properly. And even if you didn't, I mean, even if you were, selling, trying to panic sell at the current moment, again, yeah, Bitcoin is only down 8%. It is not that bad. If you want to compare it to something in the traditional markets to make you feel better, I was monitoring Apple, and you see Apple stock is down almost 20% in the last month or so, which is pretty terrible for a traditional market stock. 20% is huge. I mean, that's these are crypto loss numbers. Anyway, that is my long-winded take on the market. Let us get into Bitcoin analysis real quick. A lot of you were asking me about this 3-day death cross and what's going to happen here. Well, I mean, if you're looking for confirmation, you can certainly look at a chart time increment or an indicator that will give you what you're looking for. Because, yeah, okay, the 3-day, you see the death cross that's about to happen between the 50-day moving average and the 200-day moving average. But if you look at the 2-day, that death cross already happened. That death cross happened all the way back in July, right? You see the 50 falling below the 200. So there isn't something especially significant about a 3-day chart, especially on a market that trades 7 days a week. It's just something that, it might be something that somebody pointed out. And then obviously you have all of these copycats on crypto Twitter and crypto YouTube that then take that analysis and act like they came up with that on their own. I'm not going to name any names, but it's pretty obvious who I'm talking about. So yeah, I mean, for sure that is a piece of evidence or an indicator that you can take into account. But the death cross already happened on the 2-day, and if you're using a simple moving average as opposed to an EMA, you're going to get different results. I particularly like the EMA more because it takes recent price action into account at a heavier weight, right? So anyway, what I wanted to look at was the weekly chart and the monthly chart. So here's the weekly chart. The weekly chart, we're still in this descending triangle. It's a very similar pattern to what we saw on the 1-day chart before we broke out of that moving sideways, right? We're still at this. There's this strong support that we are currently slightly below, because we're at 5,600 and the strong support was at 5,770. So again, it depends on where we close out on the daily and where this weekly candle closes out. Oh, one thing I wanted to point out about the daily, this right here, let me go back to the daily because this is 2 days. This right here, we're now, the RSI is 18.4. This is the lowest ever recorded RSI on a Bitcoin chart that is available on TradingView. This is the lowest RSI ever. What does that mean? That means we are in majorly oversold territory. No, that does not mean you should start buying now. You can afford to wait and see how the market shakes out. But it does mean that this is the lowest momentum that we've seen ever, right? And, it's true that before we have bull runs, there is usually a final leg of a bear market. However, I don't want traders to be confused and think, oh, this is the last drop before the bull run. It very well could be. I'm not saying that it isn't, but I'm also not saying that it is, because I'm realistic and I know that bear markets can last a very long time. They can last a year or longer, right? Like you can be in an actual recession. So, this is not necessarily the final shakeout before the bull run, but yes, before a bull run, you do see a final leg of a bear market before a bull run happens. So it is just a wait and see game right now. Nobody knows what is going to happen. I can tell you that we gauged the precariousness of the market based on the fact that we're in this low volatility range for so long with low volume, that any negative news that comes out, you're susceptible to a downside breakout. Back to the 1 week chart, we are nearing the apex of this triangle, and we will see how this plays out. Again, if we close below 2018 support, that could spell trouble for Bitcoin and for the market in general. In the short term, I think in the long term, we will be okay. If you look at the long-term trajectory of Bitcoin, this is the 1 month chart going all the way back to 2011. Obviously, you see a steady uptrend in the market. And once you're looking at the 1 month chart, you could see the periods of the bear market more clearly, right? This is on the logarithmic scale, by the way. So, for instance, this bear market lasted over a year and a half, really, before we started a climb again, right, in the end of 2015. So this very well could shake out the same way. We could break the support of this uptrend and, you know, trade sideways for a very long time. Do not discount that, but that does not mean that there won't be, you know, swings, for instance, in altcoins priced against BTC, or short-term leverage trades that we can make. It's not the end of the world. Just protect your damn portfolios, man. Make sure you're using the stop limit correctly. Do not trade without learning how to set a stop limit. I will definitely be looking for re-entries. I will definitely be making some leveraged trades. If you want access to the trade alerts, sign up. Link is in the description. It'll cost you less than a cup of coffee a week, and you also get access to the chat where you get to mingle with some of the other experienced traders as well as myself, and you get to learn some shit. At least you will learn how to protect your portfolio. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that thumbs up if you got anything out of this content. If you have a question for me, hit me up on the Discord or leave a comment down below. Please, please stay safe out there. I say it at the end of every video, whether we're in a bull or bear market, but stay safe out there for real. Peace.